Nina is fighting for Ukraine by supporting heroes on the front line. She is very actively involved in fundraising for frontline supplies and, of course, fighting vatniks through NAFO as well. She has a huge range of activities. She's a social media influencer, blogger, of course, a proud Ukrainian and a volunteer helping Ukrainian army defenders on the front line. This is also the second time Nina has blessed us with her presence here on the channel. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome her back. We're going to be talking about veterans. We're going to talk about fundraising, volunteers, things which are absolutely critical to Ukrainian war effort and Ukrainian resilience. And before we start on that, please do also check out the links that we're going to put in the description of the video. It's going to be links to the incredible products that Nina has, things like patches and so on, which I very much encourage people to buy. But there'll also be information about how you can potentially help her fundraising efforts, but also other validated Ukrainian charities like Superhumans and so on, which we include as standard now in every one of our videos. But Nina, welcome to the channel.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Jonathan. Glad to be here on your channel again.
Well, last time we talked in more general terms about the ecosystem of support within Ukraine. We talked about international volunteers as well, fundraising and so on. But that was pretty much a year ago, I think, or at least sort of 8 months ago. And things have changed. In your view, is the need for fundraising, is the need for support, is the need to know that the world is still very much on Ukraine's side, is that more important now than when we last spoke?
Yeah, I think it's even more important now because from talking with other volunteers, with my friends, I hear that the requests they increased many things that were not in that high demand. For example, many units didn't have any issues with food supplies or some small gear supplies. Now they come and request volunteers to help with this as well. So we just see it. Unfortunately, this lack of support probably shows this, and in general the economy in Ukraine is not that good because of war and because of all the issues we have apart of war. And unfortunately that the front line feels this, and we need even more. So our front line soldiers, they need even more support. But there is also a phenomenon that many more people joined a volunteering movement, because for me it was as well, it was not that easy to start volunteering, because everyone has this pride that you cannot beg, ask for help, and it's not something we should do, we used to do. And some people didn't have issues with it. They started volunteering right away because they felt it necessary. For the other, it took more time, like for me. And there are people who come to this only now, overcoming this guilty feeling and stuff, because they see their friends needing help, then see that other friends volunteering, that motivates them. So from the other hand, yeah, there are more people who are involved, but the demand is increasing even higher. So there is never enough help, and we need to constantly resupply things, and much more requests than we can handle. And sometimes it's not it's not easy also mentally to refuse when you see that the soldiers need something, or a big unit needs. And for example, for me, I'm just single volunteer. For big units, I'm just not able to help. But now I have more network of contacts, so I'm trying at least to involve more volunteers or to suggest them another contacts. So it's still still it's good to be needed. Everyone is needed, and we encourage everyone to really don't forget about Ukraine, about supporting us, because now we need everyone more than ever, especially with this lack of supplies and lack of ammunition. Like our support covers some of these gaps, and that's a huge help itself. It saves lives and eventually will help us to win.
And of course, yes, you definitely mustn't be shy about asking, because you're not just protecting your own land, your own people. Do you and the the soldiers and veterans that you're fundraising for, do you have a sense that you are protecting, Western Europe, in fact, and its democratic values and freedoms? You're actually in the front line of protecting, a much bigger territory than Ukraine from an assault against values which actually, Western Europe shares with you, freedom of speech, freedom of belief, freedom of expression, all these things. I mean, is that sense grown as well over these 2 years of war?
I can tell you what I noticed, like, for example, from soldiers. Mostly, I cannot say they feel it like this. They have different like view on this, but I haven't heard much that like we are protecting the whole world. Mostly, we are protecting like the like main ideas of like democracies, that what is like moral values for everyone, for humanity. That's that, but not specifically like Europe or Western world or something. For many, like we have, for example, a lot of Georgians here, and I love Georgians a lot. I will visit in Georgia living there for 3 months, and they're like really close to our culture. So Georgians, they feel it like it's their war, because they had a lot of conflicts with Russia, and they have like their country were damaged a lot, so they feel like they're protecting their country. They don't mostly take it as protecting Europeans. Like for Ukrainians, we just want our families, our land to be protected, to be safe. So this is also not like the measure idea, and we really feel like the whole world is helping us, and yeah, we appreciate that. But I cannot tell that there is common like understanding that we are protecting the Western world. From my perspective, that's true, because if we lose here and this evil will win, then it means in any country this can again happen, and it means there is no safe place in the world, because this peace in Europe, to me now it feels like it's a kind of illusion that it will last forever. When you live in it, you think it's not going to change. We also had this illusion just 2 years ago. But yeah, overall, our fight here, so everyone has different motives to fight. Of course, there is also the idea to protect the whole world from the injustice that is coming, like that is here. But yeah, that's mostly, I think, our supporters feel like this. In here on our inside the war, it's less like this idea is less common.
And I wanted to get a sense as well, because before we hit record, we were talking about the different requirements. So you've got people obviously on the front line, you've got people who are in support positions around there, but also you have more and more veterans, which of course have specific needs. And when I was fortunate enough to be able to visit Lviv in August of last year, I was shown around Superhumans, which is an absolutely incredible facility for veterans who have amputated limbs and they're being rehabilitated. And the idea there is, not just to help somebody be mobile, but to fully give them a purpose, and get them back into society. And what sort of shocked me was how many of those veterans didn't want to just go back and think, well, I've done my thing now and go back to civilian life. Apparently, 80% of the amputees want to get back to the front, and some it's not possible, of course, but they can come back in terms of roles as trainers and various support roles. Some can even be, say, drone operators and so on. So what's your experience here about the needs of people in the front line versus people who are classed as veterans, but who might still be able to play an active role in supporting Ukraine and its war effort?
Yeah, so many soldiers who I supported 2 years ago, now they're veterans. So all of them like veterans now, because everyone who participated in combat, they are veterans, even if they continue doing this. But many left because, like, international legion soldiers, they can break contract at any point of time, and then they just leave the combat. So I have my close friends who are veterans already, and I can tell that this whole meaning of veteran, it changed in Ukraine, at least. So before, it was veteran for us was an elderly man who fought in World War II, and we had 9th of May was the day when we remembered about them, and there was some activities and some appreciation of them. And the modern meaning of veteran is completely different. So we have 19-year-old veterans already, and the huge amount of people now. It's not the small community. It's growing. And I also described in my post in Twitter that at my company and at my job, we also have veterans joining, who returned from the war. They were fighting for more than a year, and then were wounded, and they cannot continue fighting, so they come back to civilian life and try to reintegrate, and they find jobs. So we also hired several veterans. I have a veteran in my team. I'm very proud of it. And this is also I consider it a part of my volunteering activities to support veterans and in general moral support of all our soldiers and veterans who are no longer soldiers, because this is something that you cannot buy for money. You cannot fundraise for being a friend or providing this kind of support. And this is very very important, not only for them, but just in general for society, because we have now big amount of veterans, and they have very special challenges, and they cannot adjust to society any longer. We must adjust to them. And I'm also trying to raise this awareness everywhere in my community of friends, and on Twitter when I have opportunity as well, because it's very important topic. In Ukraine, we have a lot of also movements specifically focused on veterans. We have courses for with psychologists for civilians people, how to communicate with veterans, how to behave when you have your loved one as a veteran, for example, because it's very special, and it's it requires some knowledge. You cannot easily adapt to it if you if you had no you have no idea how it is. And mostly veterans, they so all veterans, all soldiers also, they feel very much isolated from society. This is absolutely everyone with whom I'm talking after I think several months on the front line. They no longer feel supported even by their families, even though there's mobile phones and we have constant like contact with them, only several days of maybe disconnect during some deployments, but then again, and still it's not solving this like their feeling of being like isolated and rejected even by the society. That's why I always ask people who support my campaigns with care packages to send personal messages, not just general message, but some personal messages. We even made a campaign when I asked soldiers to just give their call signs, not names, not some personal information, just call signs. So every supporter can address his message to this person. So this is very, it's a big thing when he can receive or she can receive the personal message. It's for women as well. I also talked and listened to many girls on the front, even if they have like family and not lonely people, they feel really abandoned when on the front. It's like probably a common phenomenon of the war, of the combat experience. So they really need this like messages, supportive things, but also it's very easy to hurt them with some questions. So it's important not to push, not to ask something. And also just wanted to share with everyone one thing I discovered and was also confirmed with psychologist, military psychologist, that, for example, we tend to call soldiers, our defenders, heroes. So I was also one of those. I wrote to all my friends, "So you my heroes, you are the best," and everything. And then most of the times they either don't reply anything on this, or they just try to reject it, saying we are not heroes, we are just like fighting and it's our job and everything. And then we discussed it with the psychologist, and he said this is the most painful thing you can say to veteran and to a soldier who is alive, because they, among them, heroes are only those who sacrifice their life. So and when we say you are our hero, they feel guilt, they feel, so they even said, the military scholar said, he's also a veteran, he said, I want to kill myself immediately when I hear that I am a hero, because for me it means like no, I don't deserve it if I'm alive, because many of my friends died and they are heroes, and I'm here, I already feel guilty that I survived. And when civilians come and then push it, I was pushing really my friends. They told me, they're not heroes. I said, no, you are wrong, you are superheroes and everything. And now I understand I was hurting them, even though I tried to support them. And for me, it felt like I'm doing super good. And for them, they were like wanted to commit suicide after this support. So this is very important to be careful with what to say. So I also now tell to everyone, please be careful. Don't put any labels on defenders. They just try to use names, not just call them anything, like no, not like killers, heroes, or like Supermans, anything. Just keep away from this, because you never know how they can take it. And there are many things like this. For example, not to come really close when you talk, because this is like how brain works after such like stressful situation that they were in. Their brain works differently, and it's like not a temporary thing, it's like almost for forever. And they feel they need to protect themselves and any even person who they love. They cannot feel comfortable like being very close. And I was also tend to like come and hug and just be like really touching. So for them it's mostly not that easy, and also need to be careful with this. So just all these little things, we need to learn, and we need to also teach each other, not only to make people who we like our friends who come back from war, who we love, but also for ourselves, not to get into a situation when when you will be hit by a soldier, because he it's just like normal reaction for our like some action that is common for us. And yeah, so this is probably the biggest goal for me after the war. I will keep doing it, supporting like my friends and maybe more veterans, but now it's already the time when we should start, because a lot of people come back from war, and PTSD is really strong in soldiers who are on at the war zone now. So yeah, this is a very important part of volunteering. Actually, all volunteers, they do this. They support veterans. They provide like moral support, even just being in touch. Sometimes it's already a big thing for them. And I like also this volunteering movement called the Ghost Concept. I don't know if you heard about it. That's like organization that helps to connect soldiers who don't have any like support from outside, like orphans, for example, people who don't talk with family, or maybe family doesn't support them, and they like really lonely, and don't have anyone even to chat or to call, and they can find kind of a friend supporter who wants to communicate with soldiers who support them. And so soldiers apply to this, and people who want to support soldiers apply, and then they match kind of pairs. Maybe several supporters can be assigned to one soldier, and then they just have it, I think, signal chat. They talk, they like send some things to the soldier, and provide a lot of this moral boost, for soldiers. That's what I wanted also to start, kind of similar activity, but we mostly ended up with sending care packages, because it's quite big effort to make this whole concept work, and it's already like existing. So I just also forwarding to everyone who is interested this Ghost Concept foundation. This is probably so.
And is it easier sometimes for veterans to talk to each other? As you say, there's this challenge to come back into civilian life, especially if they're coming back to cities which may be further from the front line, that may be less under threat of, say, missile strikes and so on. So is it easier to talk to other soldiers or be in the company of other veterans than sometimes it would be in the company of family and civilians?
Yeah, absolutely. There is even a study after the 2014, when we started having like the whole meaning of veterans. The study was made that, and now I can also confirm it, that many soldiers, many veterans, they have very strong self-identification with their group, and they even say it out loud that they only other veterans can understand them, and they even have plans to, like, after the war, if they survive, they will live together, because if they have some issues, only other like veteran can understand them. It's like really common. And family, they don't rely on family that much in this case. Family who, like as I said, has some knowledge and adjust to this like changes in their family member, they can be a great support. But without any preparation, really we can just hurt them more. And that's why, of course, it's easier for them to talk between each other, and they keep connection after even after finishing this combat. At least what I see from people who I met as soldiers before and who are now veterans, they don't even leave this group chats with units, even though they're no longer in that unit. They try to stay there because it's quite important for them, for their yeah, for their feeling safe to stay there. Because
and the connection as well, the connection with action to, I guess, know people are alive and are still fighting as well. I mean, there must be if you leave that and you're so close to people, there must be the constant worry that you know, they're in danger and they may either go missing or not survive as well.
Yes, yeah, this is so very very difficult. And also yeah, like a contact for my friends who from International Legion mostly, who left, and now they don't really know how to adjust to the society. And I am from Ukraine. They are in different countries now, and they still sometimes come for advice how to like adjust to that society, which is like a bit different for me. And also I suggest often to just go to the therapist, and I know several in Ukraine who are English speaking and Ukrainian speaking, so I like really encourage my friends to go to them, and it helps a lot. So those guys and girls who like have this understanding that they need help and they come and ask for help, this is like one way of improving things. But what I see, they change a lot. It's not like the same people who were 2 years ago. It's like really sad and worrying to see. But yeah, still we need to support them as much as we can.
I mean, they will have seen horrific things. They would have potentially had to do horrific things to survive and to help their comrades survive. In terms of psychological support, is this largely available on a sort of volunteer or private basis, or is there a support network to treat PTSD, etc., available through the state? Or is this an area that requires significant development and focus?
There is Veterans Foundation. They provide also like psychological therapies support, and but I never been in touch with them, to be honest. I mostly advise private volunteers who also they usually very open to support just for free, just to they even ask these guys who I suggest to them, then they ask to share their contact with the whole unit, whoever needs, just come and they'll help. For example, yeah, I was also discussing with one of my friends. They, for example, advise sometimes to even pay more attention to health, because on the front, when there are constant like suffering and even small like injuries, they're not like considered serious problem, but then the small things, they accumulate, and it also brings a lot of problems, and person doesn't even realize it. So they just even sometimes come to this they just advise, just okay, pay attention to all this, just go to doctor, or just have some time to really relax and have some rest, and this is already solving like a lot of problems. So these little things, they cannot come to them themselves. They need to professional to advise on it. So yeah, mostly I feel that it's not enough currently on a state level, or maybe we have just the problem is like spreading the information about it. This organization exists, but I'm sure that most of soldiers doesn't know about it, and there's no easy to find it. I haven't seen any like banners in the cities with this or any like announcements somewhere. This is kind of a problem in Ukraine. You don't have this culture of like advertising good things on a big audience. So yeah, but that's actually a good point. I will check. Maybe I will also try to look for this kind of resources and make a list for to share with everyone. So we spread this information with our like possibilities in social media.
And I'll connect you with someone who's been on the channel as well. He is involved in trying to set up support networks, psychological support networks for veterans, because they identified a big gap there. So I'll send you his details. He's an incredibly powerful personality. He's an Irishman who's lived in Kiev for a long time and is setting up these sort of networks. So that might be of some help. But we're talking about a huge scale here, aren't we? Because of the scale of the front line, because of the fact there are hundreds of thousands of people fighting, the scale of these post-combat trauma and psychological problems, it's going to be huge, isn't it? It's almost unprecedented in the modern world, the sheer scale of people who are going to require support, who already, in fact, require support.
Yes, that's the problem. Many people require support already now, a lot, and if they don't receive this support, it will be a huge problem for society because there are already like expected like increase of suicides, for example. That's what everyone is talking about, and yeah, also the general like violence in different areas. This is like inevitable if you don't do anything with it. So it's very important to also like focus on it. That's why I'm also keen to yeah join this movement to raise awareness and encourage everyone uh, to join and to learn how we can improve this, because absolutely everyone in Ukraine have either friend or family member who is veteran, and we will have a lot of colleagues veterans at work. This is also important part of area of life, and everywhere we need to like adjust how to integrate them back and also help them to live with us, because they really feel like they're different now. They cannot be with us. Many of my friends soldiers say to me, we will never be able to live with civilians any longer. They just really think like this. And to me also, even to me, it was like not clear what they're talking about. But then now I learn and dig deeper into it, what issues they have, and understand that's really serious. It's not just words. It's a reality, and they cannot cope with it themselves. We need to be like all of us need to learn and joined and help them, and on state level of course, but on the state level there are a lot of initiatives. We just need to make sure they don't stop and they fund it enough. So again, it's a lot of about volunteering. I'm sure there won't be enough funds for all the state initiatives.
And of course, it's an experience which in Britain people only generations ago had. I mean, a couple of years ago, a relative of mine passed away, but he had fought in sort of special operations in North Africa. So again, very intense warfare behind enemy lines, and that fundamentally changed his character. You know, he was very withdrawn for his entire life, very reclusive, and he certainly wouldn't talk about the war. He didn't want to discuss anything about the Second World War and his activities. An incredibly sort of painful thing. So I mean, that really ties up what you said earlier about being sensitive to what you can and cannot ask a veteran, and also giving them perhaps space as well, because they're not necessarily going to want to be the same person. Another challenge, it seems to me, is that you have a lot of veterans whose families and wives are actually abroad as refugees, and they may feel in some ways reassured that they're safe physically, but in other ways they may feel even more of a distance between their previous lives and their current lives, and there's the experience of their families, which are going to be fundamentally different in foreign countries, learning foreign languages, trying to adapt with all those pressures. What's your view on the sort of refugee problem there and how that's affecting soldiers who are serving and veterans as well?
I cannot tell much about this because I don't have any like close people who I can like see for like uh, in this scenario. But what I hear a lot, of course, and see from social media, there are a lot of different dramas, of course, about this. When there are also couples that split because of this, and there are families that become too distant, of course, from each other, and there are a lot of conflicts inside families. And when they reunite, there are also like a lot of pressing topics, and they cannot sometimes live together any longer. So of course this will be also one of the problems, like a huge scale of this kind of problems we'll need to deal with. But there also, like, I hope there will be also good positive part from this, because people living abroad, many will return after the war, I'm sure. Not everyone, of course. Many even of my friends, I would say like 10% of people who I know who left, they would they already decided to stay, like relocate permanently. But 90% will return, and it's my like personal feeling. No, no reference to any official information, but I think so. And they will also bring with them some new knowledge, like different view on things, different habits, the good habits, I hope. Because from my experience, when I go to another country, to Europe, I really keen to like get inspiration from different ideas that I see there, and I bring it to my home, and try to also yeah, make them happen here. So many people will do this, and this will help us to rebuild a more beautiful country. So from this perspective, I think there will be also positive parts, and also this new generation, kids who are growing there, who learn at school in other countries, and they will come back. They will also be already different mentality, and it's good. But yeah, of course, in terms of separating families, yeah, this is really difficult. And but everyone makes his own choice. It's a choice, so everyone has his own path and destiny. So that's something people will live through. um, but yeah, for veterans, no matter where you live, you need to really learn how to help veterans, because they will need help. And it's like having people with different type of traumas, physical traumas and wounds, you need to treat it differently. The same with veterans. It's not like you learn one thing how to communicate and it works for everyone. It's also very special, very different. You just need to understand there is like a situation and you need to act accordingly and yeah, try to improve yourself to be also on the safe side yourself and to help others and your loved ones.
Well, let's turn, I mean, the last question I've got here is really about fundraising itself. You're extraordinarily active. You've got the care patches, you're connecting people with these fantastic ideas on how to help people, and of course providing just, you know, support as a friend and a colleague. Now, before we hit record, you were showing me the fantastic patch you've got there. Could you describe, yeah, let's get that on the camera. That's brilliant.
This is my fellow patch. I made it with my name this time. I don't know if you can see here.
I can see that, yeah.
And I also have International Legion patch. That's a gift from my friends in International Legion.
And how does this, how can people help? I mean, I know a lot of people in NAFO actually collect patches, and I was asked a couple of times over the weekend when I met up with a few of them, what is my patch collection looking like? And I'm like, I only have one patch so far, so it's not really a collection yet. But does this sort of activity really help? I mean, it helps me to engage with Ukraine. It helps people to engage with, you know, fighting the informational war and the physical war. But does this really help as well in generating funds? And how can people get involved?
Yeah, it helps generating funds, and it's actually still I'm still being surprised every time I see how much people, yeah, sometimes into these patches. But I also like this idea. I started it from just making my page. I decided that I want a page because there is a trend kind of in Ukraine, and military people, they wear patches. I'm not in military, but because I'm trying to be connected with them as much as possible, it's also kind of taking over their habits. So I made just for fun this page and post it in on my page on my page in Twitter. And some people asked if they can also have it. And then I decided why not to make it like available for everyone, and then people just donate money, and I will put my efforts in like ordering and organizing all this, and at the same time will help our soldiers, because this when people receive something physical in return, something that make them happy, they also more motivated to support. And yeah, to me it looked like a good idea. And then I see yeah, probably it wasn't just my discovery, for other people as well, but I know I motivated many people as well to do the same fundraisings. And many of my friends who I met on Twitter, they also started doing this with their friends and communities, and I see it helps to raise a lot of funds for different fundraisings. And yeah, so this works really well. And the only problem, it also requires a lot of time to keep track of everything. So now I'm not doing it on that scale as before, as I was just offering to everyone, just come and also promoting it. And I had many people yeah, coming with this request, but sometimes it's just overwhelming because I have now a lot of um, like much more soldiers to support, so it's less so this is also a big amount of time you need to like check with them, talk with them, order like gear, order things, fundraising money. They sometimes come from different like accounts you need to also collect. So it's a lot of activities, and no, like a full-time job plus a family, and there is no time for like also accepting batch orders. Now I'm just doing it on kind of ad hoc basis. So people, if they know, they come and ask. And for my friends who really doing some fundraising, they need it, they just come and of course help them. But this is really like for a start or for some big fundraising, this is really great because first of all, it attracts attention of people when there is some nice things. Then people feel get some souvenir. I think most of people like it because it's a good souvenir of these times. You can keep it easily in album or anywhere, and yeah, for others it becomes like also a collectible item, so they collect more, try to search for more. And there are a lot of like this crazy ideas, like with that shark, for example. Everyone wanted shark patch. Then this main busters, by the way, you should have it, Jonathan. This main
Yes, I'm
busters
one of those, yes.
yeah, so I was laughing so much when yeah, the guy requested to make this page, and all these different trends. So this will be a memory for people, and I really like to give something from Ukraine. It's made in Ukraine, and it's sent from Ukraine for it brought to Ukraine some funds. So a lot of like positive points why to have it. But yeah, I recommend it to everyone, and many people, even abroad, like in US, for example, traveling colonels, my friends, they also they didn't take it as like important thing at first, but then they also noticed that, for example, for soldiers, it's they also collect patches. They even trade some gear for patches and some supplies because some of them, they have really like it's like a hobby for them. And now they also started ordering because first it helps for fundraising, other it helps to raise awareness about this foundation, for example, and to also see, when you see on the picture this for example IFX they make with this patch, it's also easier to kind of make reports for supporters that really your funds went to this unit. So there are a lot of areas where patches can be useful. Plus, it's just nice. I don't collect patches myself, only this that are gifts from units. But I'm really happy to help everyone who wants to get one. Yeah, so let's make one for you as well.
Yes, I think I might start to certainly collect ones of people that I've, interviewed and spoken to. I think, creating a personal patch collection would be a great idea, and of course, it's a great incentive to raise funds. Well, what you're doing is absolutely incredible. I mean, I'd love to sort of keep in touch and do more of these as things develop. And as you say, it's become more important than ever that people from around Europe and the world support Ukraine and support specific causes, because as you say, they know exactly who they're helping and how they're helping, and it's got that transparency. I think it's incredibly important to get involved in that way. Don't give money to the big international charities. Make sure you reach out to Ukrainians and give them to people who are actually deploying those funds exactly where they're needed and exactly to help Ukraine towards victory. Nina, what a fantastic pleasure to speak to you again. There's so much you said is incredibly moving and enlightening, and good luck with the incredible work that you're doing.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone.